come to Baltimore to meet Eugene Monroe, an offensive lineman in the NFL, who's a passionate advocate for medical marijuana, to see how he's pushing the NFL to accept pot as a treatment. Got up in the air like that.
You see how violent these hits are, and that's what makes the game fun. That's why we love it. It's an adrenaline rush. That's what makes it so tough, knowing what we're actually doing to our heads.
Holy shit. Is that guy hurt?
Football is America's favorite sport. Each year, over 200 million of us tune into the NFL to watch games that are improbably fast and physical, each play a cascade of collisions. But its much-beloved brutality can lead to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, a neurodegenerative disease caused by repeated blows to the head, with symptoms including dementia, lack of impulse control, and severe depression. As the frontiers of pot's potential as a medicine expand, several small-scale studies have led doctors to believe it may help prevent CTE. But weed is a banned substance in the league, and the NFL shows no sign of accepting, let alone studying, its medicinal values. With few other leads for CTE prevention, the number of players with symptoms is growing at an alarming rate, with some even committing suicide.
Junior Seau died today of a gunshot wound to his chest.
Former Chicago Bear Dave Duerson killed himself in the same manner as Seau. In his suicide note, Duerson asked that his brain be donated to science.
Of 94 former players' brains donated to head trauma research, a staggering 96% tested positive for CTE.
There we go.
Eugene Monroe is the most vocal current player to speak out for weed in the NFL.
My advocacy is based in educating people that this is a very health beneficial substance.
I want to see how he's pushing the ball forward for gridiron ganja.
Wake up!
What's up, Farrah?
Mommy, I'll serve it out.
Don't spill it. What's up, man?
Is that it?
Yeah, it's ready.
Eugene and his 15 siblings were raised by their single mother near Newark, New Jersey.
Zay, you killing that pancake.
After being named the highest-ranking high school prospect at his position in the country, Eugene played at the University of Virginia, where he earned all ACC honors his senior year and met his wife, Nerea.
So this is how you get to the gym?
Yeah, my Jeep, man.
In 2009, he entered the NFL. And in 2013, he was traded to the Baltimore Ravens, where he signed a 5-year, $37.5 million contract.
You make it look pretty easy.
It's pretty light. That's that one.
Let's see if we can do this.
Don't bend at your waist.
Nope.
Yeah, so let's switch up this weight, man.
I can't even get this thing off of it.
Yeah, let's just take that off. Just do the bar.
So you're like just constantly tussling with people,
Yeah.
right?
It's hand-to-hand combat every play. It's unbelievable.
Because I mean, it really is. You're like,
Yeah, it's really like, like every play, but it's more violent than that. It's actually fun, man. Especially like the first time you just lay somebody out. It's awesome.
but then there's like the long-term brain injury part, which is like super scary.
Yeah.
Take me through what makes you believe that pot could prevent CTE.
So there were studies done on mice. They would give the mouse a concussion. And they found that the mice that were given cannabis performed better, recovered faster. And that's why the NFL needs to jump on this, because it's critical.
Yeah. But the NFL hasn't like been completely silent on marijuana, right? Like they're at least looking into it in some fashion.
They're not. They're saying they're waiting on a response from their doctor to let them know this is something that's medically viable. And this is a known neuroprotectant. There we go. Okay.
So are you trying to do anything to change the tide on that?
trying to put a study together that will show usage of cannabis in former players and current players. We partnered with researchers from UPenn and at Johns Hopkins, right here in Baltimore, actually.
How is it being funded?
I put in $80,000 to this research project.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
While Eugene feels compelled to fund a preliminary study, those efforts won't have any findings for years. With so little existing clinical research demonstrating pot's neuroprotective effect, I wanted to know the theoretical basis for thinking it could help prevent CTE better than, say, improved helmets. So I went to Boston to speak to Dr. Lester Grinspoon, an emeritus professor at Harvard Medical School, who authored some of the first scholarly books on medical pot and has been urging the NFL to look into weed.
Why don't helmets protect against CTE?
The helmet protects the skull, but it doesn't protect the contents. The skull stops at the helmet, puts the brakes on just like this, but the massive brain moves.
That movement inflicts microscopic injury to a key part of a neuron called the axon, resulting in a buildup of a structural protein called DAO. Over multiple hits, DAO proteins clump together like twisted steel beams, and instead of being carted away like other damaged molecules would, they get stuck and eventually choke off the cell's internal transportation system, killing the brain cell, setting off a chain reaction causing many more brain cells to die and producing CTE. A study of patients admitted to Harbor-UCLA Hospital with severe brain trauma discovered that those with weed in their blood were over 4 times more likely to survive than those without.
Things found in marijuana might insulate the neurons from damage that might otherwise be done. It protects the brain from the inside. If I were a 22-year-old professional football player, 2 hours before every practice, not even before every game, I would take one of these high CBD, low THC marijuana pills. You don't give them the THC that we use when we want to get high. You give them CBD. It doesn't affect the reflexes. It will not affect the play.
And in a certain sense, the best way to start a clinical trial is to have NFL players start trying it.
Yeah, exactly. We're in kind of a dire situation with that.
Right.
The clock is ticking.
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri to meet up with Eugene. He's flying in today to Brian Schaefering's house. Brian's a friend and a former defensive lineman who's now suffering from the symptoms of CTE. I want to know how the disease, which Eugene may already have, affects an ex-player's life. Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on? What's up, Chris?
Good to see you.
You too, man.
Getting all right?
Yeah, I did. Brought a guest.
Hey.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm all right. Excuse me if I don't get up. I'm back.
No sweat, I'm
Brian.
How you doing? I'm Brian. Nice to meet you.
Hey, how are you?
It's my daughter, Ayana.
Hey, Anna, how are you?
Good.
So you're on the offensive line,
Yeah.
and he was on the defensive line?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever go, like, actually head-to-head?
My first year in the league, he was on the Browns. I was on the Jags. And
Man, that game,
I had a concussion that game.
I did too.
Whoa, really?
Wow, yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm head up on
Tight
him.
end cracks down
Tight
on
end
you.
cracks down, and he goes out to get the linebacker. And I came off the tight end, and it was me and Jones-Drew. So he lowered his head, I lowered mine, and it was just boom! It broke my face mask, broke my chin strap, and I don't remember much else after that.
Brian can be seen walking and talking just moments after his concussion. It isn't until many years later the real damage shows.
Do you need something?
I need another pen for the eggs.
Because little is known of CTE, doctors don't have an exact timeline. But once symptoms appear, they can compound quickly, leaving sufferers in a free-falling decline.
Are you okay?
My head's hurting. It's a constant thing. It's like the memory, that and I mean the stuttering. I've never stuttered in my life.
It started in February.
And then I started having these things where I don't know what happens for 5 or 10 seconds. Like she said it looks like I'm
Like he's just staring. The doctors have said they believe it to be a small seizure.
Really?
Yeah, where you just kind of lose time.
Right.
And I have a lot of negative thoughts. I think about, if not killing myself, I think about killing other people. I mean, I've had thoughts pop into my head of killing my wife and kids. I'm never going to do it, but I can't stop the thoughts.
How do you sort of walk around the world like that? If you're having those kind of impulses, like...
It makes me feel like I have no control over my mind.
I mean, this is kind of a dumb question, but are you guys scared? You know what I mean? Like...
Every day. Every day you're scared because it's unpredictable. You don't know if he's gonna get worse or if today he's going to, if he's gonna try to kill himself and end up being one of the players that you see on the news. There is no calm. There is no peace. Every day I have to watch him and make sure he's taking his medicine and not taking too much, and make sure his appointments are right, and just make sure the whole world is right for him.
You know what I fear? Not being there for my wife and my kids. I fear not being able to be a grandpa one day.
You ever get angry?
I get angry at the situation. I get angry at myself.
Do you get angry at the league?
No, I still love the game of football, you know, and I would do it again. I got to live a dream, you know, a dream of mine since I was 8 years old.
Yeah. And I mean, this is all sort of, back's hurting.
Yeah.
He's always hurting. Do you need something? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. You want some eggs, baby?
I just like to see him eat. Whoa, that is a big dog.
Come on, let's go outside. You guys ready?
Hit me.
Ready to go play the ball?
Whoa.
Yeah, this might be good.
Uh-oh.
You're lefty.
This is the hard part for me, is not being able to do this. Play catch with my kids. Run, man, run.
I'm gonna get ya. Brian, would you let your kids play football?
Me and my kids have actually had that conversation. I don't want them to play in Little League. I'll give them the option when they go to high school.
Yeah. Trent, you want to play? You want to play football?
Not anymore.
Really? What do you mean by that?
I don't want to have the pain that my dad's going through.
It's hard because when I was playing, you know, they all wanted to play football. They all wanted to be like Daddy. And now it's like, it's almost like they don't even want to be like me no more.
It's one thing to intellectually consider the neurological effects of CTE, but it's altogether different to witness the symptoms cripple a giant like Brian and devastate his family. With training camp just weeks away, I'm traveling back to Baltimore with Eugene to get his thoughts on taking repeated blows to the head for another 16 games.
Come on out.
Hey.
Oh, there's a smile. Hi.
Hey, baby.
Oh.
She's like, hi.
Hi, Sonia. How are you? Reaching out. I'm reaching out for you. I'm Krishna.
She likes you. That means you're cool.
So, Eugene, what was it like meeting Brian and his family?
It was scary to hear his story and recognize that, okay, this is a position that I could be in. I've had concussions too. Sometimes I had difficulty understanding where I was, who I was.
Who you were.
Yeah, couldn't remember anything. It's terrifying. You gotta think, if there was another baby here and they were both like suited up playing ball, we're playing baby ball here. And essentially the heads will collide. And I hold my kid here and I'm just like, like I know this now and I didn't know it before. Mm-hmm. Is it worth continuing to potentially give myself early brain damage? I know. You have different owners of teams openly say that it's ridiculous that we're linking CTE and football, that our game is safe. It's not. We know it's not.
Contact sports have been linked to brain injury since doctors in the early 20th century began diagnosing boxers with dementia pugilistica, or punch drunk. Decades later, the world would watch Muhammad Ali struggle with Parkinson's, a neurodegenerative disease like CTE. All the while, the NFL repeatedly assured the American public and its players that football was somehow safe.
Our game is safe, and we're doing everything we possibly can for our players now.
Though there has been mounting evidence of CTE in the NFL ever since it was discovered in a former player in 2002, including the league's own settlement with thousands of former players over hiding the long-term effects of concussions, it wasn't until congressional hearings in 2016 when the league finally admitted to a link between football and CTE.
Do you think there is a link between football and degenerative brain disorders like CTE?
The answer to that question is certainly yes.
That was not the unequivocal answer 3 days before the Super Bowl.
Neither Roger Goodell nor Jeff Miller would agree to an interview. So I'm meeting Pablo Torre, a senior writer at ESPN Magazine, who's covered the league for years.
There are studies that show that CBD might hold the key to preventing CTE. Why isn't the NFL looking into funding that kind of research?
Drugs are something that terrifies them. It terrifies them because it terrifies normal Americans. They're not making independent value judgments. They're reading a marketplace.
Yeah, but we're not talking about smoking it on camera. We're just talking about putting money towards research that might bear fruit.
Absolutely. But the NFL is against the idea of brain research and increasing safety if it jeopardizes their business model. I mean, think about Super Bowl, the most expensive orgy of advertising that has ever existed in American history. Who pays for that?
Right. So, I mean, in a sense, like maybe the league doesn't want to piss off its booze sponsor.
That's it.
I mean, would you say that they're sort of risking players' lives and even letting some of them die because the NFL doesn't want to lose sponsors?
I think it could be reasonably argued that marijuana could certainly help with healthcare and that increased CTE research would save lives. And so the fact that they're not embracing that strategy, then I think a line can be drawn causally that says you are choosing money over well-being. The NFL is a business. We like to think that it acts with some sort of moral compass, but that is a burden that we would not impose upon most other multi-billion-dollar corporations. The NFL is the apex predator of the American sports economy.
Cannabis is a substance that, if shown, it can benefit not just me, but my peers who play now. Quite frankly, anyone who experiences traumatic injury.
I've noticed where the Baltimore Ravens have kind of distanced themselves from you on your cause for this. Are you concerned at all about your future in the NFL relative to the stance?
I'm not.
Surprise announcement today, offensive tackle Eugene Monroe has been released by the Ravens. Just 1 week out from training camp, the Baltimore Ravens have waived marijuana advocate Eugene Monroe.
There were some indications through the Ravens website that his advocacy for medical marijuana was a factor in the decision to move on from him.
Eugene's dismissal, arguably for the negative impact his marijuana advocacy had on the Ravens brand, has made him a free agent. He's now fielding multi-million-dollar offers from the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers. I joined him at his annual summer barbecue.
I mean, I know that the Ravens haven't been particularly supportive of your marijuana advocacy. Do you think like being in the limelight about that stuff might have contributed to their decision?
It could have played a factor. I understand that. I'm not naive to think that people still don't think cannabis is taboo.
So what do you do now?
There are offers that most people would jump right on. But I do feel concerned for my long-term health.
Does that mean like now that you don't have to play anymore, that you might consider not?
You know, I've always had the goal of making the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'd be capable of achieving that. But is it worth it? Is it worth losing everything? Talking to my wife about it, I know she's terrified if I step back on the field.
I don't want him to ever feel like he gave something up and he didn't get to reach those goals that he wanted to reach. But at the same time, if he goes back out there, you know, I don't know if I could, you know, handle another concussion. I need him to be there for our kids. I need him to be there for graduation. I need him to walk our daughter down the aisle. So if he wants to say he's done, I'll put my jerseys in a box and put them up in the attic. I'm totally good with that.
Can you get everyone to come?
Sure. Hey guys, come on out. Bring your kebab.
It's awesome that you all are here with me. So I wanted to say thank you and sort of let you know what's going on. And I do have a few offers to play elsewhere. I'm wrestling with the decision. Do I stop playing and make my health and future the focus? It's a tough one. So just you guys being here just reminds me of what's important. Thanks for being here. Seriously.
Of course. Daddy, can we go back in the pool now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Get back in the pool. I'm a fan of football. I watch the NFL every Sunday, but I don't think I'll ever really be able to watch a sport the same way again. What's happening to these guys is an almost invisible, slow-motion tragedy, playing out in front of millions of fans. If weed can hold the key to help players who are debilitated by the effects of football, the NFL should be racing to try to research it. But because it's pot, because it's illegal, because it's something that we consider unhealthy, there's a cultural barrier to even approaching it. But ultimately, it's kind of about us. It's about people who watch the sport. Because if we're just numbed to the potential long-lasting effects of what the sport can do, if we're just sated by the violence and by the entertainment, we as fans are kind of complicit in the destruction of these players' lives. Every little play, every run-of-the-mill running play up the middle could be yet another little ding in the brain that results in CTE, in memory loss, in suicide, and depression. And for an increasing number of players, that's a risk not worth taking. Eugene decided not to sign with a new team and is retiring, leaving millions of dollars on the table and walking away from the sport that's been his life. But what's terrifying is that Eugene might already be heading down the road to CTE. And it's almost impossible to know how many people who've played football at the high school level, at the college level, might be down that road as well. Brian Schaefering's kids don't want to follow in their father's footsteps because they see what's happening to him. And when this sport isn't passed down from father to son, when it stops bringing families together and instead tears them apart, then that's game over. That's the beginning of the end of football.